bring in Mark Chenoweth, who is the Executive Director and General Counsel for Civil Liberties Alliance. He also served as Chief of Staff to Mike Pompeo during his time in Congress and as an attorney and advisor in the Justice Department. Mark, good morning, and thanks so much for joining us.
Good to be with you this morning.
So let's start here. What are your expectations in terms of the kind of judge President Biden will select? We suspect it likely will be someone's liberal, but beyond that, what are your expectations?
Well, I would hope that he would select someone who is experienced, who has demonstrated not just through their words, but through their actions as a sitting judge, that they're going to apply the law and not their personal predilections or preferences when they're interpreting the cases in front of them.
And Mark, obviously Biden, everybody heard that he is promising to elect or to bring on a black woman. What are your thoughts in regards to this? And is this even proper for a president to state, legal?
Well, I don't think it's the best approach, although you'll recall that President Ronald Reagan promised to appoint a woman when he was elected, if he was elected president, and that's how Sandra Day O'Connor became the first woman justice of the United States Supreme Court. So it's not a completely unprecedented action on his part. The question is whether or not the particular individuals he's looking at are the best choices for that role. For my money, if he wants to appoint an African-American female justice to the Supreme Court, he should pick Janice Rogers Brown, who's the chairman of the new Civil Liberties Alliance Board of Advisors. She was on the D.C. Circuit for an awfully long time. She's very highly qualified, and I suppose that he wouldn't like the way she voted very well.
So let's look at this from a broader perspective. It seems that the High Court really over recent years has been called on to look at legal matters, but also offer some political precedent, if you will. Do you think that's going to continue, or does the court need a bit of an overhaul when it comes to getting back to the original idea of of deciding issues from a judicial perspective, not with political influence?
Well, I do think that the court would be best served sticking in its own lane, and that's the lane of making legal decisions rather than doing anything that might be perceived as political. If I were President Biden, I would take a look at the current Supreme Court and say, look, whoever I appoint is going to be in the minority on the court. I need to appoint somebody who is going to have a chance to win over Chief Justice Roberts, a chance to win over Justice Kavanaugh, some of those justices who have shown a propensity or willingness to side with the more liberal justices. If instead President Biden appoints someone who is far to the left, then I would think that their opportunity or the likelihood that they would win over the other justices is very remote. You don't see, for example, Justice Sotomayor winning over the conservative justices to her side very often, whereas you do see Justice Kagan do that quite a bit more, and you saw Justice Breyer do that more often.
And Mark, I think a lot of Americans heard the rumors of possibly Vice President Kamala Harris being one of the possibilities. If that was to be the case, and of course we do not know that is just a rumor right now. If that was to be the case, how does that play out if she's the vice president right now, and obviously she wouldn't be able to be on the ticket in 2024, but how would that play out right now as vice president to be appointed as a Supreme Court justice?
Well, the constitutional prohibition is that someone can't serve in both branches at the same time, but because her tenure as a justice wouldn't start unless and until she resigned the vice presidency, I don't know that there would be a constitutional prohibition on that. I think that, of course, the president wouldn't have to actually make her appointment, or couldn't actually appoint her until she resigned from the vice presidency. If I were Kamala Harris, I might be awfully reluctant to resign the vice presidency and trust that the president would then follow through on appointing me to the Supreme Court.